right, guys. Hello, everyone. I hope everything is good at your end and everybody can hear me. Can you please give me a thumbs up if you can hear my voice? Perfect. Just checking that everything is in order here. But yeah, let's start with this AMA. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this exciting AMA. Today, we have the pleasure of the company from our new partnership, Seed Venture. They will deploy a very cool investment platform on Mintlayer, and that is what we're going to dive into on this call. I am Michael Bille, Head of Business Development at Mintlayer, and I'll try to guide you through this AMA. We have collected questions from our social platform over the last few days. However, if there is anyone out there with the last call question during this AMA, feel free to ask them in the official Mintlayer Telegram channel, and I'll try to add the question at the end of the call. Now, let me introduce you to the great company I have with me today. I have Martina Granatiero. She's a lawyer working at the legal structure at Seed Venture, and she's actually joining live from the Bitcoin conference in Riga. So it's great to have you here. And we also have Sergio Di Brisco, co-founder and handling the crypto business at the Seed Venture. And at last but not least, we have William Prividori, co-founder and handling the venture capital business at Seed Venture.
Hi, Michael.
And yeah, from my side, from the Mintlayer side, I'm heavily joined by Enrico Ruboli. He's the co-founder of Mintlayer. So we are a great team today on this call. So it's going to be super excited. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, and thank you.
All right, let's get started into this. William, let's start with you for an introduction about Seed Venture. Can you tell us more about the company, the project, and kind of what is the purpose and mission of this platform you are creating?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Michael. And thanks again to having us here and talk about Seed Venture after, let's say, a great partnership between the promising Bitcoin sidechain you guys are working on and the unique possibility to create fundraising campaigns on top of your protocol by using Seed Venture system that we are launching soon in the market. I hope. So let me just share a short presentation to introduce Seed. I hope it will works. So confirm me that my screen, you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, okay, we move on. But basically, just let me. Well, I can change the page. Oh my God, what's happened? Okay, so sorry. Basically, Seed Venture is a fully decentralized platform with a compliant web-based interfaces built on top of it that tokenize the startup investments with an easy access on it, no logging required, and a secondary market of liquidity pools automatically created by the system. I mean, it aims to be a bridge, you can see the picture, between, in one side, the freedom of exchanging value, and, I'm referring to the DeFi ecosystem that is strongly growing, and in the other side, the real economy of promising early-stage startups, the world I came from, that are doing innovative businesses, not necessarily blockchain-based, and they are using a traditional financial system by looking to raise capital. I mean, the mission of the seed venture was clear since the beginning: raise the bar of the crowd investing experience in startups, expanding the current traditional crowdfunding market to its fullest potential by creating a borderless crowdfunding ecosystem on top of a seed venture engine that will work through our interfaces, but it can be integrated, and we hope so, to other traditional platforms. To do so, we first look at the strong needs and then the critical issues. Starting with the needs, startups today try to raise the first capital from business angel, but it's very difficult without market validation or a product to test. In the other side, we have crowd investors that are really attracted to invest, but they are not professional ones. So it's very easy to make mistakes. For example, falling in love with the project. Developing the platform, we strongly focus on the issues surrounding transparency, accountability, and the centralization of the traditional platform. We can simply say a problem of trust. Seedventure essentially fixed the first 2 points thanks to the decentralized architecture without losing a crowdfunding-like user experience. But there is a third point that is critical and we consider as the major problem the individual investors they usually underestimate. We did a lot of surveys, Michael, in the traditional market, and this consideration is real. The illiquidity of the startup shares. I participate daily in many groups where the crowd investor want to sell their investments or has to, and there is one big lack: a financial place that acts as a secondary market. It just doesn't exist. So the only way to liquidate their investments is to wait that the startups reach their success in the market. It means a big company, for example, acquires the complete majority, or the startup go public, meaning an IPO, so investor can sell the shares in the regulated market. This event is pretty known as exit, and it took at least 7 or 8 years from the early investments. Luckily, today we have the DeFi as a solution, a market that acts, let's say, as a secondary market. So the problem of such critical illiquidity can be solved with the right design that matches traditional investments and decentralized market. This is why we talk about seed as a bridge, because raising capital in the real economy is a regulated activity, while in the DeFi market, money flows freely in full privacy without any control by the regulators. This is the topic for Martina for sure, but from the business point of view, let's be realistic. The winner will be who will create the right compromise in bridging privacy and regulations, offering an easy-to-use investing experience. I think that we are doing a good job. Let me just end, Michael, saying where we are now. We just ended the development of the platform with a new design and new features. So we have a working product in beta phase. We became AWS Activate providers. It means each startup can create their own fundraising campaign using AWS services in a unique distributed manner. We want a grant from Polygon DAO. And finally, in July, we opened the testing phase for Italian startup. Italy is our first market test. More than 15 startups have signed to participate, and they are giving us helpful feedbacks. Very soon, we will open the test for investors, and we will launch the platform at the end of the year, I guess. This is pretty much all information about mission and purpose of the platform.
All right, super interesting, William. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
When I'm like looking back, then I know that the latest year or two we have seen a lot of different forms of crowdfunding models out there. Can you maybe precise a bit about what makes Seed Venture and you guys more special than the others?
Yeah, yeah, definitely there are a lot of incumbents or different projects. Maybe I took a lot of time with the presentation, so I try to go fast and straight in this answer. So if we talk about traditional crowdfunding platform, I mean, there is no story. They don't solve the issues I told before because they just can't do it. I mean, unless they decided to move forward and embrace new technologies, and we are ready to integrate our blockchain solution. Let's talk about launch paths of tokens. There are, I mean, differences depending on the perspective. For instance, we can start with pretty known platforms like Downmaker, Podcast Starter, DuckDAO, Juice, Launchpool. All of them are surely focused in new project startups, but they only accept business model token based. This is not a requirement of seed venture design. And let's say there are a lot of innovative ideas out there that they definitely didn't need a token. So these launchpads are closed for the real economy. Then we have, for example, Polkadot, Securitize, Convergence, Open Finance, that acts as a multi-purpose tokenization platform. Seed Venture is designed specifically for startups, crowd investor, and venture capital markets in general. Then we have some launchpad like Polymath that stands more or less in the middle between crypto community driven and business community driven, or between multi-purpose tokenization or more vertical purpose. Let's say, Michael, the real consideration is that we took the hardest way in bridging financial market with different rules, right to say one with rules and one without. Martina is doing definitely an hard job. But also, we are trying to invite Web2 entrepreneurs, or not digital ones, to move forward into the direction of different conceptual models and new ways to raise capital in digital currency. Finally, I think that the real challenge is the mental transition into a world more inclusive where people can take real control over money or data. Believe me, talking with several innovative startups, they are still not prepared to embrace this kind of change. The initial meeting with them is always the same. Suspicion and fear are the first feelings in front of a decentralized platform. That's it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on the last point there, William. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much for the great introduction about Seed Venture and the explanation about why you stand out compared
I,
to other launch pods.
I took too long, but my team knows that I'm used to talk a lot.
No worries, no worries. It's interesting what you're talking about, so no worries. We have plenty of time.
Okay.
But now let's move on to Martina. Uh,
Hi.
hey, how is the Bitcoin conference in Riga going?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you, and it's also a pleasure to talk to you from Riga. I just arrived today to attend the Baltic Honey Badger, a super tech and Bitcoin only conference. So I'm a little bit excited to be here.
Good to hear. I'm sure you're gonna have a few good days there. Absolutely, Riga is a beautiful city.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But let's go into. I have a question for you here regarding to the regulation. As you are a lawyer, how does the seed venture platform combine the traditionally regulated markets and then also the unregulated DeFi markets? How does that work from your end?
Well, as William mentioned before, you have to consider that when we started working on this project, DeFi projects were just beginning, and several initiatives were aimed at bringing liquidity to startups, but all these projects focused on blockchain-based startups. And in contrast, one of the first and defining features of Venture was to focus on startups in the real economy, because we wanted to do something different and create a bridge between the off-chain and on-chain worlds. And why? Because we always believe that these two worlds would sooner or later meet in a definitive way. Hybridizing with each other, but also offering new possibilities. You know, one of the reasons DeFi was created is to democratize access to funding. And when we talk about democratizing access as startups, we don't really have access to a lot of investment, mainly in Europe. With specific reference to startup, the stratigraph of the market is not matched by an equal growth of the secondary market. And we think this severely hinders their attraction to investors, especially retail investors. An investor, after acquiring a corporate stake to carry out his exit strategies, has three options. Sell his share to one or funding partners or to a new partner entering venture capital, wait for another lender company to acquire the startup, or wait for the IPO and liquidate one's position on the secondary market. However, these three possibilities are not easy to implement, both because of the cost and the long waiting time between buying and reselling the stake. I think about 8 years, 10 years sometimes. And therefore, tokenization becomes crucial. Seed venture represents a sort of entry point, gateway to the DEXs, because distributed infrastructure and smart contracts can effectively manage the buying and selling of assets without having intermediaries monitoring and executing transactions. This means that exchange portals can be totally decentralized and even have no company behind them to manage them. Any time of startup can create a fundraising campaign, regardless of industry, technology, or, for example, funding stage. In first stage, through web interfaces, the platform allows startups to launch their tokenized capital raising campaign, which will tokenize on their own and without any intermediation by portals. Specifically, the startup will be able to choose the protocol, for example, the blockchain or a layer, the protocol on which the on-chain campaign will run, choose the currency with which the startup wishes to be funded, define the capital raising goals, the minimum and the maximum, set the duration of the campaign, decide on the amount of native venture token that the potential investor should have in their portfolio, and even choose the name and ticker of the token that represent the investment in the startup and will be automatically issued by the system when the smart contract receives the funds. And this is done according to a compliant process because KYC and AML procedures are provided by the integration of web interfaces, which is inevitable by representing the tokens as an asset of the startup. But at the point, we find an additional element. If investors wish to demobilize their investment, they can access decentralized exchange platforms such as Uniswap, and through the liquidity pool, it can exchange their tokens. To this end, the platform allows the startups' tokens to be wrapped. Wrapping startup tokens means that certified investors have to trigger the process of minting wrapped tokens by sending a certain amount of their startup's token to the wrapper created by the platform. That means an equivalent amount of wrapped tokens, which can be used in any other platforms. But not only that, because an investor who just wants to trade tokens without going through a compliant platform can do so by buying directly on the secondary market. And thus, wrapped tokens increase liquidity and capital efficiency for both centralized and decentralized exchanges. I hope to. I hope to be clear.
Thank you, Martina. It sounds really great, and I totally agree with you about the tokenizations part, because it's, for me, it's a no-brainer. It's going to be future. We're going to tokenize like a lot of things, like equity and real assets from the outside world and everything. So it's going to be super interesting in the future. And if you already now like starting your seed venture already now, like have the legal side in place, you'll have a huge advantage from other competitors in the future. So it's really interesting to hear that from you guys. Regarding to regulation, that we have some new EU regulation on the way. They've been on the way for several years now. Can you tell me, please, more about this and kind of what do you expect to happen and how this might affect your platform?
Oh, yeah. Very short. Unlike the primary market, there are important moments of reflection in the secondary market in Europe. I think that in the short term, so many factors will change because DLTs are being watched. There is an awareness that they can be an alternative and a very effective tool through which to manage both the public offering of tokens and the later buying and selling of those instruments. Europe strongly wanted a Europe-wide regulation for blockchain for our legal and regulatory fragmentation. And in 2020, the Commission adopted a package, a digital finance package, a sort of legislative proposals to regulate crypto assets, to increase investment and ensure customer and investor protection. And this package aimed to update some financial market rules for crypto assets and create a legal framework for regulatory sandboxes or financial supervisor in the Europe for the use of blockchain in securities trading and post-trading. And this is very, very, very important. Crypto assets that qualify as financial instruments under the Marketing Financial Instruments Directive have previously been subject in Europe securities markets legislation. However, these regulations predated the emergence of crypto assets and DLT. This could hinder innovation. Therefore, the Commission has proposed a pilot project for market infrastructures wishing to try trading and setting transactions in financial instruments in form of crypto assets. And the pilot project provides exemptions for existing rules and allows regulators and companies to test innovative solution using blockchain or DLT. For cryptocurrencies that do not qualify as financial instruments, such as utility token or payment tokens or stable coins, the Commission has proposed a new specific framework that would replace all other European and national rules that currently regulate the issuance and storage of such cryptocurrencies. The name is MICA, or MICA in Italian, the Cryptocurrency Markets Regulation, and it will support innovation while protecting consumers and the integrity of cryptocurrency exchanges. And this includes rules such as private insider trading or fund hardening or something like this. But not only that, because a sandbox is a framework that brings together regulators, companies, and technology experts to test innovative solutions and identify obstacles that arise during their implementation. And so, for this reason, the European Blockchain Partnership is planning a pan-European regulatory sandbox for use cases, including data portability, business-to-business data spaces, and something like this. And we hope the sandbox, we hope to become operational in 2023. I hope so. As for seed venture projects, certainly these changes concern us and we are following them closely because we use tokenization and we use security tokens. However, in the desire to go to the market as quickly as possible and while waiting for the new frameworks to become law, our project has been working to propose itself as compliant with another law, with the European crowdfunding regulation, which uniformly regulates the phenomenon in Europe. And we want to start from there and using this framework to go to the market.
Yeah, that's great to hear, Martina. Sounds like you are already well prepared of what's going to happen in the future regarding to the MiCA regulation here in EU.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good to hear that. And thank you for the explanation.
She's really prepared.
It's good
to count on her properly.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now let's talk about the seed token you have. The seed venture token. Sergio, can you maybe advise us more about the tokenomics of the seed tokens and what kind of utility this has?
Yes, of course. As you already know, the seed platform enables the crowdfunding of real economy startups, and it uses multiple tokens. It uses seed token, that is the native token of the platform, but principally the startup tokens that we call pool tokens. Every startup issue their tokens, and those tokens can be traded on the platform. Well, I try to share a scheme. Well, if I'm able to.
Are you doing it? Or
No,
I can do it for you.
It's easier.
Okay, so I can do it for you.
You are already used to it.
Okay, yes.
I don't know the platform.
I'm trying to share again my screen, but
Okay, let's try.
I think I can add it.
Okay, perfect.
No. Let's
see the monster.
Okay, the general flowchart. Well,
what a monster, but I mean, for some people, can be a monster. Not.
It's simpler than it seems. Well, try to see the actors on the platform. The actors on the platform are the startups and their investors. The seeders, that are the seed token holders, the bakers of the platform, and the liquidity providers for the trading couples, startup tokens, payment tokens. So, but the principal actors are startup and investors. The main smart contracts of every crowdfunding campaign are the funding pool, that is the basket in which investors put their payment tokens to obtain in exchange the startup tokens. The wrappers, there is a wrapper for every startup campaign. The liquidity pools, there is a liquidity pool for every startup token. And the cashback vaults. The cashback vaults are a campaign contract, are campaign contracts that enable startups to offer a kind of stimulus for investors to invest. They are not the main contracts. They, maybe we don't talk about them because of the time. And there are two platform contracts. There are community vault, that it's a smart contract vault where the seeders, the seed token holders, can pick their yield, their profit from the activity of the platform, and the staking contract, the contract where the seeders stakes harvest tokens. But let's start to describe the activity of the crowdfunding. As Martina said clearly, every startup can choose the payment token to receive the funds. In the contracts, they can choose every RC20 token. In our user interface, there are restrictions applied only in the interface, and the choice will be restricted among some stable coins like USDC, USDT, Ether, and the very seed token that probably nobody will use, but well, I said that restriction can be applied only on interface level because all the platform, the smart contract suite, is completely decentralized. The staff has no privilege over the contracts, no privilege over anyone else. We can use the platform exactly as anyone else. So who doesn't want to suffer to the compliance restrictions of our user interface can use the contracts directly if it's enough skilled. Well, the operation for a crowdfunding campaign are these. Startups deploy their campaign, set the amount, the duration, the payment token, and manage directly the know your customer, the compliance rules on their investors, directly or through a qualified intermediary, probably in this second way. So startups can manage an address whitelist, and if the address of an investor is whitelisted, he or she can invest their payment tokens in the campaign, putting their payment tokens in the funding pools and receiving in exchange pool tokens. What can they do with pool tokens? They can hold them, awaiting for an exit event when they probably could convert them in startup shares, or they can freely trade those tokens, not directly, because they are securities. Their transfers are restricted to whitelisted addresses. So who want to trade them has to send them to the wrapper contract and receive in exchange a wrapped pool token that is freely transferable. Transferable and tradable where? The short answer is Uniswap, PancakeSwap, platforms like this. But the real future of the platform, the nice future of the platform, is to automatically create a liquidity pool with a couple startup token, payment token. The payment token is the same chosen by the startup. And when the platform creates it, well, startup raise funds, and when the campaign is finished, the startup can claim the token raised. And in the claim, the contract, the guy in the startup pays the gas for this operation, creates a liquidity pool on a swapping platform, and mints on top of the issued pool tokens a further 1% of the pool tokens, send them to the wrapper contract, receive in exchange the same amount of wrapped tokens, and then send to the freshly created liquidity pool the wrapped tokens and 1% of the payment tokens. So the platform is the first liquidity provider of the liquidity pool, with 1% of the emission of the circulating supply. So from the first instant of after the campaign end, we can trade, sell, and buy startup tokens on the liquidity pool. Who will use them? Probably who is late to the campaign. The campaign is closed, so if one is late, can buy the token directly in the secondary market. Probably not who has just invested. So probably the price will go up, and everybody will be happy of this. The liquidity pool can be used to buy startup tokens not in early stage of the investment. For example, in following stages, when the startup is more mature, its market value is increased. So some investors can decide to exit, and some big and structured investors can invest in later stages of the business. Well, what are the role of the seeders, of the holders of the seed token in this mechanism? The seeders can send seed tokens to a staking contract that you can see in this slide in yellow, seeds staking, and receive in exchange, the more they hold in staking seed tokens, the more they receive in yield tokens, that are tokens to be burned in a community vault. The community vault receives the trading fees of the secondary market, and seeders can pick their profit of the trading fees by the community vault, from the community vault sending the yield tokens. So we can say that the seeders, the holders of the seed tokens, become partners of all the crowdfunding campaigns of the platform. This is in brief, in short, the tokenomics of the tokens, and we think it reflects the real economic dynamics of the model we propose for the crowdfunding.
Thank you very much, Sergio. It sounds very interesting about the tokenomics at Seed Venture and your platform. If further to this, I can just ask you, how do you see Mintlayer can improve the seed platform functionality? And also maybe why did you guys choose to Mintlayer as a partner? You can all three of you can come in with answer, but let's start with Sergio.
Well, not only functionality, but the very life of the platform. The short answer is that for Mintlayer promises to deliver a cleaner architecture than the actual world computers provide. We have seen in a lot of protocol development the developer teams implementing complex computational architectures on the base layer of the protocol. For me, it's a very questionable idea. Adding continuously features to the base layer makes it hugely complex and can be harmful for a lot of reasons, including security ones. But of course, developers are tempted to add new features every day because they are cool and without fixing the base protocol. But the base protocol needs to be fixed, needs to be stable to build over it. On the other hand, we have examples of good practice. For example, Internet, IP and TCP. They are base layers of the Internet, and they are very old. They've been developed since 1973. They are old. Just me now are older than them, but Martina and William are younger. So for a protocol is a lot of time, and they are in good shape. Well, Internet protocol is the network layer, and the transmission control protocol is the transport layer. So if IP obtains the addresses and TCP delivers the data. Good organization, they work perfectly together. But all the application layers are built on top of them, not mixed and put in a single and complex base layer. They are on top. So they are more simple. HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, File Transfer Protocol, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, very old protocol. And the very DNS protocol, the domain name system, they are old but still alive and kicking because they are built on top of the base level, not put inside of them. So IP and TCP have no information about the navigation, for example. They are on top. The separation among the layers, for me, brought the great efficiency and the success of the Internet. The whole system has become highly complex, but its layers are relatively simple. And for me, this is the recipe for the success of the Internet, a big success. We are convinced that by now, I'm an old Bitcoiner, very old, not only anagraphically, I'm a Bitcoiner from 2011, so I'm one of the second Bitcoiners. Well, the Bitcoin protocol now is stable enough, not only for me, to be petrified, frozen, fixed forever. And then used as a solid rock to build application layers on top of it. Well, how can it be done? But surely developers must give up adding new features, also if they think they are cool, and add them in the application layer. Bitcoin protocol is complex now, but it still remains simple enough to be the most reliable settlement layer. Also because we need uncensorability, decentralization, a lot of features that draw me into this universe. Also, if I'm a boomer. quite. For radically new application layers to build on top of it. Well, we think Mintlayer can do it right. Why? Because it doesn't just copy-paste the Ethereum virtual machine from a protocol to another, but offers a new and original system for token minting. That is the very base layer of token economy. Let's tokenize everything, but we need a strong base and a new system, not a catch-all base layer. So, as you already know, Seed Venture platform mints tokens to fund startups of the real economy. So we deem Mintlayer can be the right minting layer for our tokens. This is the reason of the partnership.
Yeah, I fully understand you, Sergio. And again, I'm also a Bitcoiner, and for me, the Bitcoin blockchain is the only truly decentralized platform out there, and absolutely the most reliable and strongest blockchain. So, for me, Mintlayer, we are going an exciting time ahead. So it's super interesting for us. So I fully understand your value point why you choose Mintlayer, and yeah, hopefully we're gonna have an exciting.
I just add one more thing. Sergio is the crypto soul. Everyone can see. He explained the monster, so his answer he did is the right one. But I can only add that my first meeting with the decentralized world was with Bitcoin. I learned what it means to be in true control of the money. Okay, so since the beginning of the Seeds journey, we all wanted to run seed smart contracts on Bitcoin. Today, that hope is becoming a reality. So we are excited to start building on your protocol.
Yeah, super good to hear, William. Absolutely. So, Enrico, to put you in the game here, what do you think about the exciting thing they are advising us on our Mintlayer platform? Why they chose us?
Well, I think it's a good choice. Obviously, it's I'm kind of biased here, but I think it's a good choice. As they said, is probably the most important part here is the connection between the tokens and the assets they are going to create with directly for Bitcoiners. So the idea that you have your Bitcoin in your wallet and you can exchange directly your Bitcoin to something else like a share of a company or something, that is amazing, right? And I think this is the core feature of Mintlayer, right? So this is the main point and why we are doing that. The idea is to allow Bitcoin holders to diversify and find opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. So let me ask you a question here, Enrico. Kind of the opposite before, just like from our side. How great and important is it for us at Mintlayer to attract a project like Seed Venture to build on Mintlayer?
Well, we are here to create a platform, right? And obviously, what is important is that the platform is used by great projects. So, Seed Venture is one, and filling a gap that is in the market, is creating opportunities. So, it benefits everyone here. So, I think this is the very clear example of the kind of project that we want on Mintlayer.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and I can tell from the business side that we are happy to have you guys from Seed Venture on board on Mintlayer ecosystem. So it's gonna be super interesting in the future. But now let's move on. As this is an AMA, we have asked our community to write some questions to us in advance on Twitter and Telegram. So let's dive into some of these questions. Let me just find them here. I have first question here is for you, Enrico. What will the partnership brings of value to the MLT token holders? And perhaps you also can advise kind of what is the use cases for the MLT tokens in general, the Mintlayer native token.
Well, I kind of already answered here, and the benefit for the whole platform is clear. Specifically, obviously, when you are an MLT holder, you can create your own node. You can stake your tokens, and you can decide it, for example, to have the seed token as a fee for transactions, right? So this is a clear example of a free market for tokens, right? So, and it's something that I will do. So I'm pretty sure that the seed token would be used as a to pay for fees on Mintlayer, and yeah. So basically, it's a way to get more opportunities, right? So you will collect seed tokens, and then you can invest in startups, for example, and so on. And yeah, you also ask what are the general use of MLT token. So there are basically it's used for the main purpose is to stake, obviously. So you can stake your token, and then you can participate with your node to the consensus system. And the other use is to pay for transaction fees, and so to mint new tokens and all the features that are part of Mintlayer.
Yeah, thank you for that, Enrico. And I can actually kind of ask the same question to you guys regarding to seed venture. What with this partnership brings of value to seed token holders, and not just this partnership, just generally partnerships, and also kind of when projects are minting on your platform, how would that bring value to your native seed token?
I can answer this question. When we will deploy the platform on the Mintlayer protocol, we will issue the same amount of seed tokens that are at the moment on Ethereum, and we'll airdrop them on Mintlayer to seed token holders of Ethereum. We will obtain two effects with this airdrop. The first effect is an advantage for seed tokens holders that will see doubled their wealth. The second advantage is for Mintlayer platform that will bring inside a lot of new users, all the users that will find their tokens on the platform. So it's a double advantage when we will deploy the platform.
I think that I can add something maybe in the business perspective. Staying on the part of startups that can create their own fundraising campaign, they can choose which blockchain can be deployed, the set of smart contracts that runs the full campaign. So look at the possibility to choose a site of change of Bitcoin. It's something that commercially is very strong. It's very attractive because people maybe they don't understand technically how the things are going, but they know that Bitcoin is the most secure layer. So they can feel to use something more secure than other blockchain, for example. So it can be benefited just because the startup can choose a blockchain that is the strongest since now. So, and commercially it's powerful also to use Bitcoin. So there are some points that can help to be more attractive in terms of use the platform and to mint using Mintlayer.
Yeah, that feature is super interesting. Thank you for your input, William. Yeah, I have a question here for you. You already mentioned it from the start of the AMA, I think, but I'll just ask you again. You can just recap again. Like, are seed venture open for business now, or when do you expect to open for opportunities for investment and raise funds for startups on your platform?
Maybe Martina, or I can answer as well. So I'll say the platform is already developed, okay, and we started testing phase in order to use our interfaces and to land in the market. We decided to be compliant. So we are dealing with the regulators in order to be perceived compliant from the world outside the crypto world, okay? Because as I told to you, when we met startups, they are suspicious, they have fear, okay, in using that kind of way to raise capital. So we are completing this process, but as I have already said, it's just a starting point. We land to the market in order to start a new way, but the real aim is to offer the opportunity to the other traditional portals to integrate the blockchain engine. So, and maybe this can be an acceleration of the adoption because all the portals are already compliant, they are already authorized. So we aim that they will be interested and not just feel fear, okay, in using and integrate technology that can give the opportunity to the startups in raise capital, digital capital, not fiat money. I don't know if Martina wants to add something.
Just few words. Yeah, to consider that now the regulator is aware that we are at an important point and that DLT blockchain is a tool to improve finance and to make it more accessible. We have decided to go to market with a specific design, that is of crowdfunding. And in this design, Seed Venture implements a compliant process and will therefore have to have a permit as a crowdfunding portal. But attention, because this is only one possible avenue, and we hope it will be the faster possibility to go to market, but it's not the only possibility to go to market.
Exactly.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you so much, guys. I think we will wrap it up here because we already been on like for an hour now. Does anyone have a final comment before closing down?
I want to add some more words about the advantages for NT tokens holders. Well, when we create automatically liquidity pools, we don't create the swapping platform. We don't create the decentralized exchange. We use existing platforms. So if Mintlayer develops an internal or native or embedded decentralized exchange based on liquidity pools, we will use them, and they will generate profit for token holders. We would be glad.
Any comment on that, Enrico? Last final words?
Well, yeah, I agree. It's interesting. Let's explore this.
It sounds good. Guys, thank you so much for joining this AMA. I can just mention to the community out there that we have the Mintlayer community call regarding the development update sometime in a few weeks. So please stay tuned on our Telegram for that one. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Martina, Sergio, William, and Enrico for joining this AMA.
Thank you to
Thank you.
us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
For your hospitality. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Bye.
And Enrico, thank you too.
Ciao Enrico.
Ciao.
Bye bye. Bye to all.